Hey y'all, today's lesson, let me move that for y'all. Whoops. Okay, there. Today's lesson is multiplying with exponents, and you have a note outline. You've worked with exponents before, so in this example right here, 5 to the third times 5 to the sixth. So 5 to the third power means 5 times itself 3 times. Go ahead and get that down. Times 5 to the sixth, which is 5 times itself 6 times. And this is another way we could write this. Since we have the same base, 5 is the base and 5 is the base. Since we have the same base, this is also like saying 5 to the 9th power because I have 9 5s right here. So if you look at the start to the finish, do you see a pattern, or do you see maybe an algorithm developing between 5 to the third, 5 to the sixth, and 5 to the 9th? And I hope you're seeing, 3 plus 6 is 9, because that's exactly what you should be seeing. So in these examples, or here's the rule. Exponent rules, if your base is the same, and so our base is A, any number, it can't be 0, but if your base is the same, then you're going to keep the base the same, kind of like a common denominator. See, my 5 didn't change. I didn't say 5 times 5 is 25. My 5 stayed the same, and all I did was I added my exponents, m plus n. So if you are multiplying and your bases are the same, you're going to add your exponents. So here are just a few examples. X to the third times x to the fourth. Well, this really means 3x's, and then this means 4x's. And then I have total x to the 7th because I've added 3 plus 4. This example, x to the 5 times x to the negative 3. And maybe you've never seen a negative exponent, but really it's kind of like a dividing. It doesn't mean the number is negative. It means it's dividing by powers. And so you would add 5 plus negative 3, which is positive 2. So x to the second power, x squared. And then this example right here, we have x with no written exponent. So we just know that if you have an x, that's like an exponent of 1, because that's to the power of 1. And then we can add 1 plus 6, and we get x to the 7th power. So let's do some more examples together. Example 1, simplify. Our instructions are just to simplify. So we have 4 to the 6th times 4 to the 7th. Well, my bases are the same, so my answer is going to have 4 as a base, and then 6 plus 7 is 13, and there is my answer, 4 to the 13th power. B, I have a times a to the 4th times a squared, and remember a with no exponent written is an a to the 1st, and I'm going to add my exponents. My base remains the same, a, and that's going to be 1 plus 4 plus 2 to the 7th power. All right, example C, x to the third times y times x to the 5th. Now remember, I said you have to have the same base, so I have an x here and an x here. I can add 3 plus 5, and I get x to the 8th, but I only have just the one y, so I'm going to have to carry that y down and put it in my answer. X to the 8th times y. If you don't have any other base the same, then you're just going to bring that answer down. All right, example 2, some more simplified. These are a little bit more complicated. So do you see these big numbers? These are called coefficients, 4, 3, 6, and then this has a 1. Those are called coefficients. If you have a coefficient, you're just going to multiply the coefficients. They're not exponents. You don't add them. You multiply the coefficients. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 3 times 6, and then times 1. And then you're going to get your exponents that have the same base. So I have x's right here, and then I have y's. And so you can underline and circle like that. My x's, I have x squared and x to the 5th. So that would be x to the 7th. And then I have y to the 3rd, and remember, if you don't have an exponent, you put in a 1. Y to the 3rd and y to the 1st, so if you add those, that would be y to the 4th. And then my last step is just to multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 6 is 60. And, no. 12 times 6 is not. 12 times 5 is 60. 12 times 6 is 72. X to the 7th, y to the 4th. So if you have coefficients, you're going to multiply the coefficients. In this example 5, I have a coefficient of 1, coefficient of 3, and then a coefficient of -1. So again, we're going to take our coefficients, 3 times, whoops, not a comma, 3 times -1. And then I'm going to look for my variables. I have an a, but I don't have any more a's, so I'm just going to bring that a squared down. And then I have b to the 4th and b to the 3rd, and when I add those, I get b to the 7th. Then I need to multiply 3 times -1, which is -3, a squared, b to the 7th. Okay, so I want you to try these two. Pause the video, you try them, and then press play. Okay, so I have my coefficients, 5 times 2 times 3. And then I only have m's that I can put together. And this is an m to the 1, so m to the 9, p to the 4th. And I'm going to multiply. 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 3 is 30, m to the 9th, p to the 4th. That should be your final answer. And number 7 you try. I have a -5 and a 6. And then, ooh, right here I have x's. So when I add -3 plus 7, I'm going to get x to the 4th. And then I have 1y right here. 1 plus 4 is 5, so y to the 5th. And you multiply your coefficients, x to the 4th, y to the 5th. All right, so the last two examples are some real-world problems. And in Real World 8, you have a triangle, and it says find the area of the triangle. If you've forgotten the area of a triangle, that is 1/2 base times height. Maddie, what time is it?
It is 7:53.
Okay, thank you. So we bring our 1/2 down. Now the base of the triangle right here is 6x squared, and the height of the triangle is 9x to the 3rd. And now I'm going to multiply. Again, we're going to multiply our coefficients. 1/2 times 6 times 9. And my x's are the base, so I'm going to keep my x the same, and I'm going to add my exponents. 2 plus 3 is 5. 1/2 times 6 is 3. 3 times 9 is 27. X to the 5th. That is the area of this triangle. All right. You try 9. Find the area of this rectangle. Length times width. So the length is 6x to the 6th times 3x to the 4th. You're going to multiply your coefficients together. And then I have exponents with the base of x.
Is this Mrs. Mann's class?
And then I add my exponents. 6 plus 4 is 10.
Did you say you're this one?
She went to the workroom to make some copies. 6 times 3 is 18, x to the 10, and that is my area for this rectangle. All right, we will practice more in class.